How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Lamed Zayin, Daf 37 of Masechta Kiddushin. Friends, friends. Wow. It feels like that's kind of crept its way into the intro. I'm telling you, between the intro and between the Yentis and the bungalow colony on Shabbos afternoon, these episodes are going to start getting longer. Because the Yentis, it's no longer just the Yentis and the bungalow colony on Shabbos afternoon. Maybe the Yentis even started out just not even on Shabbos afternoon, right? That was probably early. The Yentis and the bungalow colony on Shabbos afternoon, low-fat mandel bread, Diet Coke, Shmir, Salash, and Shir, Shalosh Shudis. Alright, and we got now, how you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Yo, friends. Spend the whole episode is just going to be me doing an intro and talking about the Yentis and the bungalow colony on Shabbos afternoon. Friends, today we're talking about mitzvahs atuliyos ba'aretz. Very interesting. Very not interesting, but also very interesting. Does that make any sense? Like how, I guess like in a certain sense, like how interesting can Orla and Kilayim and Chadash be? Like not that interesting, but for some reason, like conceptually, it's maybe interesting. Because it's like mitzvahs atuliyos ba'aretz, so maybe that's interesting. I don't know. Whatever. Let's get started. What? There's noise. Why is there noise? I need to focus. Okay, we're going to start in Daf Lamed Vav Amud Beis at the Mishnah. Mitzvah atuliyos ba'aretz. Yeah, that's kind of what we're going to talk about. Kol mitzvah she tuluya ba'aretz and noeges ela ba'aretz. See, that's interesting, right? I think. Whatever. Mitzvahs atuliyos ba'aretz. The Gemara is going to kind of explain. The first question of the Gemara is going to be my tuluya, my she'ena tuluya. What exactly does mitzvah she tuluya ba'aretz mean? Okay, we'll get there. Seder. But a mitzvah tuluya ba'aretz is so that's applicable in Eretz Yisrael. V'she'ena tuluya ba'aretz, and a mitzvah that is irrespective, I guess, of the land. Noheges bein ba'aretz bein b'chutz la'aretz, right? So the Gemara, Rashi gives some examples, like tefillin, for example. Tefillin doesn't matter where you are; you wear tefillin. Fine. Chutz min ha'orla v'kilayim. The exceptions being orla, that you have to wait. You can't eat a tree for. Okay, whatever. You can't eat a tree. Okay, you can't eat fruits of the tree for 3 years. For the first 3 years, v'kilayim, and mixing different seeds and it's shiloh. Okay, seeds, grapes together. So that applies in Eretz Yisrael as well as in Chutz La'aretz. Rabbi Eliezer Omer Afe Chodosh. Rabbi Eliezer says even Chodosh. Chodosh is that you don't eat the grain of the new year until the Omer, the new harvest, until the Omer is brought on the second day of Pesach. So now, right? Yes, the Sfiras Omer. Yeah. Ooh, is that coming up? No, that was, right. What are we up to? Sukkot, right, not Pesach. Okay. Oh, my brain is all scatterbrained. I don't know why my scatterbrains, but alright. Deal with it, friends. Alright. Fine. Afe Chadash. So also Chadash applies. Well, that's the Shaila, right? What does it mean, Afe Chadash? We're going to get to there today. Now that I stumbled through that Mishnah, let me see if I'll see how I'll do in the Gemara. My Tuluya, my she'ena tuluya. Oh, so the Mishnah had said mitzvahs atuliyos ba'aretz are davka in Eretz Yisrael. If they're not tuliyos ba'aretz, then they're everywhere. So ilay matluya dichsiv ba'bio v'she'ena tuluya d'lo iksiv ba'bio. So if mitzvahs atuliyos ba'aretz, if it means a mitzvah that when describing the mitzvah in the Torah, it talks about, v'haya ki v'yacha, it will be when you get into Eretz Yisrael, that kind of a thing. And mitzvahs she'ena tuluya ba'aretz are mitzvahs that when the Torah mentions them, it doesn't say something like, ki tavo el haaretz kind of a thing. Okay, so it's based on how they're described in the psukim. But in fact, the Gemara v'ari tefillin u'feter chomer. But what about tefillin? What about peter chomer? These are not mitzvahs atuliyos ba'aretz. Dichsiv ben bia. Wait, what? No, the shaila. Okay, scratch that. Tefillin and Peter Chomer, Dichsibba and Bia, that it mentions V'haya Kiviacha, V'nehagim bein ba'aretz bein b'chutzarts, and Tefillin and Peter Chomer are both in Eretz Yisrael and in Chutzarts, they're everywhere. So it cannot be that the definition of mitzvahs atluyos ba'aretz are mitzvahs about which it says V'haya Kiviacha, because there are mitzvahs that apply everywhere that it says V'haya Kiviacha. So Amar of Yehuda, so it says of Yehuda Hachi Ka'amar. This is how to explain the Mishnah. Kol mitzvah she'i chovas haguf noheges bein ba'aretz bein b'chutzarts chovas karka ein noheges ela ba'aretz. Boop 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 ba-do-do-do. French, we read Rashi? Let's read Rashi. I think the Rashi is very nice here. Is that okay if we read Rashi? Come on, join me. Let's do it. Live a little. Alright, so Chovas Haguf, if you look at Rashi, basically like to the right of it, right, about between 5 and 10 lines into the thin lines of Rashi. Chovas Haguf, sorry mom, I gotta rub my nose. Alright, nose rubbed. Chovas Haguf, Hainu Eina Tului Ba'aretz, this is what it means that it's not Tului Ba'aretz. Eina Muteles Lo Ala Karka V'Lo Gidulev. It has nothing to do with the land, it has nothing to do with things that grow from the land. Ela al gufo shel adam, on the goof of a fellow, the body of a fellow, the person of a fellow. Kigon Shabbos, Tefillin, Avodas Kechavim, Peter Chomer, Milo, Arayis, B'chayotze Boim, Chovas Karka. What's an obligation on the land? Shemuteles ala Karka ol Gidulav. Mitzvahs that have to do with the land or things that grow from the land. Kigon Trumis, Maisris, Chala, Leket, Shichacha, Peah, Shvius, Chodosh, Orla, Kilayim. These are things that are connected to the land, to things that grow from the land. But things that aren't connected to the land or things that grow from the land, so then those are Chovas Haguf, and those apply everywhere. So again, back in the Gemara now. Thanks for reading Rashi with me. So Amar of Yehuda says of Yehuda Hachi Ka'amar, this is what it means. I'm about 5 lines into the Gemara. Kol mitzvah shehi chovas haguf. So any of these chovas haguf things, I think Rashi's definition of chovas haguf is be'etzim if it's not tluya ba'aretz, keilu, which is, I guess, a nice definition, right? Because then nothing falls through the cracks, right? Meaning anything that is either related directly to the land or what grows from the land, so that is tluyas ba'aretz, and everything else is chovas haguf. And that's noeges bein ba'aretz bein b'chutzarts. That applies in all the places. Chovas karka ein noeges ela ba'aretz. But these chovas karka things that are related to the land or things that grow from the land, so that's davka in Eretz Yisrael. How do we know this? The Tana Rabbanon, because the rabbis. How do we know this distinction? The Tana Rabbanon, as the rabbis taught, Eila chukim. When the pasuk says Eila chukim elu midrashis, these are the things that we expound from the Torah. Amishpatim elu adinim. That refers to judicial laws. Asher tishmun zo mishnah. Shatishmun is Mishnah. What's the difference between judicial laws and Mishnah? Maybe Mishnah is more broad, but Lasso zo Maise, that is the doing. Ba'aretz, okay, now when it talks about these halachis and learning and doing, Ba'aretz. Maybe all of the mitzvahs only apply in Eretz Yisrael. If you don't live in Eretz Yisrael, do whatever you want. It says, no, all the days that you're alive on this land, wherever you're alive. Okay, so if that's the case, that it's about you being alive wherever you're alive, so then maybe all of the mitzvahs apply everywhere. So Tamlomer Ba'aretz, no, it says in the land. Okay, so Achar Sheriba Akosov Umiyet. So this pasuk on the one hand is talking about Kol Hayom Asher Chaim, which is like, wherever you're living, but it also says Ba'aretz, which is specifically in Eretz Yisrael. So it seems that some mitzvahs are going to be everywhere and some mitzvahs are going to be in Eretz Yisrael. Well, so how do we figure out what's what? Well, let's look at the context in which this pasuk is written. Right? And Rashi points out in the Rashi of Mimasha Amar Ba'inyan, V'davra, about like 5 lines into that Rashi, V'davra lamed me'inyano echod miyud gimel midis hi. One of the Yud Gimel Midas Shator and Dreshes Bain is Davar Lamed Me'inyano, something that is learned within its context. And what does it say in the context of that pasuk? Abeit ta'abdun es kol amakomis asher avdu sham v'gomer. Destroy all the places that the nations serve the getchkis over there. Destroy them. Sma'avodas kechavim miuchedes sheichovas haguf. So just like getchkis, serving getchkis is it's not a chovas akarka, it's a chovas aguf, and it's noig wherever you are, whether you're in Eretz Yisrael or in Chutz La'aretz, makes no difference. And that's in the context of this pasuk, which mentions things everywhere and things in Chutz La'aretz, things everywhere and things in Eretz Yisrael. So avkol shi chovas aguf. So we say just like the getchkis are a problem wherever you are, so oichet all mitzvahs that are a chovas haguf like getchkis apply everywhere, but chovas akarka, but the things am I saying the right thing? No, come on. Come on, the people are going to lose interest. Chovas aguf, chovas karka, bidiyuk. Friends, sorry if I kept you hanging over there. If they're chovas karka, then they're davka in Eretz Yisrael. Okay, fine. Very good. Very good. Weiter. Chutz min ha'orla v'hakilayim. So we said except for orla and kilayim, those apply even outside of Eretz Yisrael. And Rabbi Eliezer had said af chodosh, oichit chodosh. So the kasha is Rabbi Eliezer adding on to that, right? Meaning the Mishnah had said mitzvahs atluyis ba'aretz are davka in Eretz Yisrael, not in Chutz La'aretz. However, orla and kilayim are oichit in Chutz La'aretz. And Rabbi Eliezer says af chodosh, and even chodosh. So the kasha is he saying and also chodosh, right? Meaning, yes, orla and kilayim are everywhere, and so is chadash? Or is Rabbi Eliezer going back to the Mishnah, that the Mishnah says, mitzvahs atluyus ba'aretz are davka in, to the Tanakama, right? So the Tanakama says mitzvahs atluy, the whole thing is Tanakama, to the first thing that was said in the Mishnah, which is that mitzvahs atluyus ba'aretz are davka only in Eretz Yisrael, and Rabbi Eliezer is saying af chadash, that included in only in Eretz Yisrael is chadash. So that's the shaila. Is Rabbi Eliezer saying that chadash is added to the list of things that apply everywhere? Or is he saying that chadash is one of the things that is only in Eretz Yisrael? That is the Gemara's shaila. Ibayu de'asa kasher. Rabbi Eliezer l'kula palig or l'chumim palig? Is Rabbi Eliezer being stringent, or is he being lenient? Right, or the opposite, right? Is he being lenient, or is he being stringent? Do we say that he's being stringent? Tanakama. This is what the Tanakama is saying. Chutz min ha'orla v'hakilayim. That when we say that mitzvahs atluyus ba'aretz are davka in Eretz Yisrael, there are two exceptions according to the Tanakama: orla and kilayim. The hilchasa gemirila, that it's halacha Moshe Sinai, that at least orla applies everywhere, even in Chutz La'aretz. Afagav de'ikla meimer chovas karkahi. Even though you can say, look, it's a chovas karka, and therefore it should davka be in Eretz Yisrael. No, orla and kilayim are everywhere, even outside of Eretz Yisrael. Aval chodosh, but I might say that chodosh, aval chodosh, but according to Tanakama, when it comes to chodosh, no, that is ba'aretz in b'chutz la'aretz lo. That is davka in Eretz Yisrael. It is not in Chutz La'aretz, my timer. How come? Well, it says by Chodosh, it says Moshe. What does the pasuk say? It says V'lechem v'koli v'charmel lo sochel arechem hayom hazeh haraviachem es korban elokeim chukas olam dorosechem b'chol moshvosechem. So it says Moshe. It says where you dwell, which means the achar Yerusha v'yeshiva mashma. It means that when you get to Eretz Yisrael, and then for 7 years they were fighting, for 7 years they were dividing up the Yerusha and the yeshiva. And after that, then there was Chodosh, but only in Eretz Yisrael. That's according to the Tanakama. Tanakama says the two exceptions are Orla and Kilayim are everywhere. Chodosh though would be one of the ones that are davka in Eretz Yisrael. Also, Rabbi Eliezer lemeimar. It comes Rabbi Eliezer to say, Af Chodosh noyeg bein ba'aretz bein b'chutz la'aretz. Rabbi Eliezer says no. Chodosh as well is one of those things that applies also in Chutz La'aretz. My time, how come? Moshav b'chol makom sha'atem yoshvim. Because when it says Moshav, it means wherever you are, wherever you're dwelling, Chodosh applies, no matter where you are. Or Dilma, or maybe Fakert. Maybe it's Punkt Fakert. Maybe The Tanakama says Moshav is anywhere, and Rabbi Eliezer says the Moshav is Davka in Eretz Yisrael. So maybe maybe the Machlokes, maybe Rabbi Eliezer is Taka being lenient. Tanakama. This is what the Tanakama says. Chutz min ha'orla v'akilayim tilchus gemirila. That orla and kilayim are exceptions to the rule, i.e., they apply in Eretz Yisrael as well as in Chutz La'aretz, because it's halachah Moshe Misinai. V'chol sheken, and certainly it goes without saying, Chodosh is going to apply in Eretz Yisrael as well as Chutz La'aretz. The Moshav, kol makom shatam yosh v'mashma, because they'll say that Moshav, right? The pasuk says Moshav, and that means wherever you are. So certainly Chodosh is everywhere. V'asar, Rabbi Eliezer lemeimar, and Rabbi Eliezer is saying Chodosh in anoig ela ba'aretz. Nisht. Chodosh is only in Eretz Yisrael. The Moshav lach Yerusha v'yeshiva mashma. So when it says Moshav, it means lach Yerusha v'yeshiva. It means that Chodosh applied after they conquered Eretz Yisrael and settled it. Then Chodosh applied, but it only applies in Eretz Yisrael. Umay af. What does it mean? Even Chodosh akamaisa. Meaning he's saying even Chodosh is included in the first statement of the Mishnah, which is that mitzvahs atuliyos ba'aretz are only in Eretz Yisrael, and that applies even to Chodosh. So that's the shaila. Is Rabbi Eliezer being lenient to say that Chodosh is limited to Eretz Yisrael, or is he being stringent to say that Chodosh applies all over the show? It applies everywhere. Tashma, come in here. Damar Abaye, zogt Abaye hot gezogt. Abaye says, so man tana de polyglot Rabbi Eliezer, givaldig. Who is the Tana who argues with Rabbi Eliezer? Rabbi Yishmael. It is Rabbi Yishmael. It is Rabbi Yishmael. Very interesting. So we're saying that Rabbi Yishmael argues on Rabbi Eliezer. So if we could figure out, it's like algebra. Algebra, is that what it's called? Algebra, right? When you're figuring out for x, is that algebra? No. Is that algebra? No. Is that algebra? No. Well, what's algebra? Wait, arithmetic is like math. Algebra, that's the thing when you're trying to figure out what x is. Oops. Should probably delete that. Alright. Well, anyways, we're trying to figure out if we could say that, if we could figure out what, right, so Rabbi Yishmael is X. If we could figure out what Rabbi Yishmael is, so then, I guess Rabbi Eliezer is X. If we know what Rabbi Yishmael says, well then, we know that Rabbi Eliezer is saying the opposite, so then we can figure out what Rabbi Eliezer's opinion is, and if he's lenient or stringent. So here goes. The Tanya is learning a brayso. It's called algebra, right? I think so. Whatever I told you, I'm scatterbrains today. The Tanya lamedcha shekol makom shenemar bo Moshav eino elo leachar Yerusha v'yeshiva divrei Rabbi Yishmael that says Rabbi Yishmael that when it says Moshav, it means lachar Yerusha v'yeshiva. So if we're trying to figure out what's Rabbi Eliezer's opinion, does Rabbi Eliezer understand Moshav by Chodosh to mean lachar Yerusha v'yeshiva, or does it mean b'chol Moshav v'seichem, right, wherever you are? Well, apparently Rabbi Eliezer argues on Rabbi Yishmael, and Rabbi Yishmael's opinion is that Moshav is lachar Yerusha v'yeshiva. So memele, Rabbi Eliezer means Moshav is wherever you are, which means that Chodosh applies everywhere, which means that Rabbi Eliezer is being stringent. Amar Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Akiva says to Rabbi Yishmael, Hare Shabbos shneimar bo Moshavos, but it says Moshavos, right? It says by Shabbos. It says lo sivayu eish b'chol Moshavosechem b'yom HaShabbos. So it says Moshavos by Shabbos. V'noeges bein ba'aretz bein b'chutz la'aretz, and yet, even though it says Moshav by Shabbos, it's not just lachar Yerusha v'yeshiva, it's everywhere. So Rabbi Shmuel says Shabbos mikabel chomer asya. Shabbos, the fact that Shabbos is everywhere is logical. Ma mitzvahs kalis nohagos ben baris ben b'chutzot. If you have more lenient mitzvahs that apply everywhere, I don't know, I guess, right? For example, tefillin applies everywhere. There's no skila involved with tefillin, right? And so Shabbos the chamir, Shabbos which is more stringent, lo kol shekain, certainly it should apply everywhere. So now, the Amar Abaye, Mantana the Polig Ole to Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yishmael. So from the fact that Abaye says who argues on Rabbi Eliezer, it's Rabbi Yishmael, and Rabbi Yishmael's opinion is that Moshav means lachar Yerusha v'yeshiva. So memele shmamina, that must mean that Rabbi Eliezer holds that Moshav means wherever you are, which means that Chodosh applies wherever you are. Rabbi Eliezer l'chumra Polig, which means that Rabbi Eliezer is being stringent. Shmamina. So Rabbi Eliezer is being stringent and saying that in addition to what the Tanakama says, which is that Orla and Kilayim apply everywhere, so Rabbi Eliezer says Oichit, Chodosh applies in all of the places. let's see, Rabbi Shmuel Ahecha Koi. What is the context in which Rabbi Shmuel is saying that when it says Moshav, it applies, it's Lacher Yerusha v'Yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael? So, Anesachim, it's in the context of libations for Korbanis. B'Nesachim, Bia u'Moshav Ksiv Behu. But by Nesachim, it says Bia u'Moshav. What does it say? It says, Dabo b'nei Yisrael v'matalem kisavohu Bia El Eretz Mosvosechem Ashanu Nosin Lachem. So it says Bia and it says Moshe. So Rabbi Shmuel is saying that, I mean, he had said when it says Moshe, it's talking about in Eretz Yisrael Lacher Yerusha v'Yeshiva. But it doesn't just say Moshe. It says Bia u'Moshe. So maybe when Rabbi Shmuel says that these things are talking about Lacher Yerusha v'Yeshiva, it's only when it says Bia and Moshav, not just Moshav alone. So Achikamer the Lam Chkom Makom Shnema Bia Moshav Eino Ella Lacher Yerusha v'Yeshiva de Rabbi Shmuel. So that's exactly what Rabbi Shmuel is saying. Is that whenever you have Bia and Moshav, so then it's talking about Lacher Yerusha v'Yeshiva, and also when it comes to Chodesh, it also says Bia Moshav. I don't have the first pasuk when it says actually I do have it. One second. Excuse me. 1 second. It is. Come on. I don't have time. Kisava la'aretz asher ninos in lachem g'tzaitem v'skitzira v'aveisim es omer reishis k'tzirchem l'koyin. So there you go. So that's talking about Chodesh. And it says kisavo, and then also it says chukasom d'orsechem b'chol mashvosechem. So it also says by Chodesh Bia and Moshe. Okay, Seder. So if that's the case, that Rabbi Yishmael is talking about when it says Bia and Moshav, then I don't understand what Rabbi Akiva responds to Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Akiva then responds, but what about Shabbos? It says, right, those Savarez b'chol moshvosechem b'yom HaShabbos. So Amar Rabbi Akiva Shabbos nimba b'm moshavos b'm l'Shabbos kal v'chomrei namely on a Bia Moshav kamina. If we're saying that Rabbi Shmuel is Davka talking about Bia and Moshav, so I don't understand. Rabbi Akiva is saying, but what about Shabbos where it says Moshav? No, not Bia. It just says, it just says Moshe Darton. Moshav Darton. So what does Rabbi Shmuel say? Good question, but Shabbos is an Ander Azach. Shabbos will learn out from Kal V'chomer. Why doesn't Rabbi Shmuel just say, Shabbos is not Bia or Moshav, it's Moshav alone, but I'm talking about Bia or Moshav. So again, if that's the case, Amar Rabbi Akiva says to Rabbi Shmuel, Hare Shabbos never bo Moshavos. What about Shabbos? It says Moshav by Shabbos. And yet that is everywhere. So V'amar le Shabbos kal v'chomer, and Rabbi Shmuel says, yeah, but Shabbos is not under a zach, it's from a kal v'chomer. Namely, what Rabbi Shmuel should respond to Rabbi Akiva is, Ona Bia Moshav kamina. Shabbos only says Moshav, I'm talking about Bia and Moshav. So Chadav od ka'amar le. Enochinam, Rabbi Shmuel did say that to Rabbi Akiva. Chada de ona Bia Moshav kamina. Firstly, I'm only talking about Bia Moshav. Shabbos is only Moshav. Right? I'm talking about when it says Bia and Moshav, but Shabbos it doesn't say Bia, it only says Moshav. Ve'od, and more so. Dika Amart, Hare Shabbos sheneba ba Moshavos. You're bringing a raya from Shabbos, trying to bring a kasha from the fact that it says Moshe by Shabbos. Shabbos kavachomer. Shabbos is a different story. It's a kavachomer that if other mitzvahs apply even in Chutz La'aretz, then kavachomer Shabbos, which is stringent, should apply also in Chutz La'aretz. But Ma'ika, what's the machlokas between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shmuel? The Rabbi Shmuel Davka says it's in Eretz Yisrael, La'achar Yeshiva, Yerusha v'Yeshiva, whereas Rabbi Akiva says that these nesachim are not limited to Eretz Yisrael. So be careful, nesachim b'midbar kamiflegei, were the nesachim offered in the midbar or not? Rabbi Shmuel says v'lo careful nesachim b'midbar. Rabbi Shmuel says no. The libations were not, other than korban sibors. Korban sibors, communal offerings, there were always libations, even in the midbar. But for individual korbanos, there were no libations in the midbar, not until they got into Eretz Yisrael, la'achar Yerusha v'Yeshiva. Then there would be libation for individuals only in I believe that was Shiloh, right? Only in the Bama Gedolah, the main altar in the temple, in the Mishkan. Rabbi Akiva says that there even were nisachim for private offerings in the midbar. If a person brought an individual korban to the Mishkan, there would be libations. And also, when they got into Eretz Yisrael, even before, for the first 14 years when they were conquering and dividing up the land, during that period you were allowed to make private altars. On your private altars you could have also had nisachim there as well, according to Rabbi Akiva. Amar Abaye, Hi Tanit Rabbi Shmuel, Mapik Meidoch Tanit Rabbi Shmuel. Ooh, wah. My cousin, I was in a groove the other day with my cousin's husband, and then she came on the groove and she said, the kids, because they were in Eretz Yisrael a few weeks ago, and I saw them, and they said, now all my kids are saying ooh-wah. I didn't even realize I said ooh-wah that much, but great. The kids are very sweet. Amar Abai, says Abai, Hi Tana, Tver B'Yishmael, Ma'apik Midoch Tana Tver B'Yishmael, ooh-wah. What do you want me to tell you? So this Tana Tver B'Yishmael, who says that Yerusha v'Yeshiva is dafka when it says Bia and Moshav, whereas what? Okay, but we're going to see another Tana Tver B'Yishmael that apparently says something else. So the Tana Tver B'Yishmael, that in this conflicting Tana Tver B'Yishmael, it says Hoil v'nemu bios batoris stam. Well, since in the Torah it says, just bias without moshavs, uferit l'cha akasu be'echod me'en la'achar Yerusha v'Yeshiva, but then in one example you have Yerusha v'Yeshiva, so I've called la'achar Yerusha v'Yeshiva. So then all of them, even if it's just bia alone without moshav, it means la'achar Yerusha v'Yeshiva. So whereas the first Tana Tver B'Yishmael says you need bia and moshav, this one apparently is saying that no, since we have an example of bia and moshav, which means la'achar Yerusha v'Yeshiva, so whenever you have bia, it's la'achar Yerusha v'Yeshiva. V'idach, whereas the initial Tana Tver B'Yishmael, it says no, you need bia and moshav. Mishum dava melech ubikurim shnei ksuvim haboim ke'echod, because melech and bikurim, which are both things that are after Yerusha v'Yeshiva, are shnei ksuvim haboim ke'echod. V'chol shnei ksuvim haboim ke'echod ein melamdin, and whenever you have shnei ksuvim haboim ke'echod, you can't apply them to other places. So only where it says bia and moshav can you say la'achar Yerusha v'Yeshiva, but not if it's just bia alone. V'idach, but the second brisa would argue tzrichei, then it's not shnei ksuvim haboim ke'echod. You need both of them because of melech rachmana melech. If you would only have the pasuk that says melech, you have to wait till after Yerusha v'Yeshiva. V'lo kasav bikurim, but it didn't write the pasuk of bikurim. Havamina bikurim dekamisani la'altar. That since bikurim you're getting hana from the first fruits, so immediately you should already have to do bikurim. Not after Yerusha v'Yeshiva. Because of Bikurim, if we had a pasuk by Bikurim to say that it's la'achar Yerusha v'Yeshiva, v'lo kasav melech, and I didn't have the pasuk to say that a king is oichet la'achar Yerusha v'Yeshiva, avamina, I would say, melech t'darko lechabesh la'altar. I would say, okay, but we need to conquer Eretz Yisrael. Let's get a king to help us conquer. So we should do that immediately. So therefore we need both Bikurim and melech to say that both of them wait until Yerusha v'Yeshiva, till they conquer and settle the land, which was 14 years. V'idach, whereas the first brisa would respond, no, they are shnei ksuvim haboim ke'echod, because nichtov rachmana melech, just say wait 14 years for the king. V'lo by bikurim, and I don't need the pasuk by bikurim. V'ana amina, I would say uma melech del chabesh la'achar Yerusha v'Yeshiva. If they're busy conquering the land, and a king who would help them conquer the land, we still say wait. Bikurim lo kol shekain. Bikurim certainly can wait, and therefore we don't need both psukim. Just have the pasuk by melech, and therefore it's shnei ksuvim haboim ke'echod. But the second brisa would respond, it's not shnei ksuvim haboim ke'echod. V'idach ikasav achi havamina midadav achala. I would say, look, just like chala was immediately when they came into Eretz Yisrael. So I might think that bikurim oichet. So kamash malan. So therefore we need both of them, and it's not shnei ksuvim haboim ke'echod. Okay, so we have two differing opinions about I guess what the opinion of Rabbi Shmuel was. V'ashad amar chovas haguf. Now that you've said that a chovas haguf, i.e. if it's not a chovas hakarka, then it's both in Eretz Yisrael and it's in Chutz La'aretz. So Moshe the kasav rachmane gabe Shabbos lomali. So why do I need to say Moshe by Shabbos? Well, itzrich sagdatich aminu ho'ova'ina since Shabbos is written in the context of the festivals, of the holidays, tiboy kiddush kimeados. Maybe Shabbos would have to be declared in Bezdin like the festivals are. Mekudesh, Mekadesh Chodesh. You have to be Mekadesh Shabbos in Bezdin. Kamash Malanda, no, it's wherever you are. It's not in Bezdin in Yerushalayim. Moshe of the Kosev Achmana Gabi Chelev V'Dam Lamali. Why do I need the pasuk to say that Chelev is in all of the places? Is in all of the places. So Itzrich, I need it because Agadate Chamina Amev Darhol V'Inyana de Korbanis Ksive. Since Chelev, right, not eating the forbidden fats and blood is written in the context of Korbanis, of sacrifices. Bisman Dika Korban Nitzer Chelev Dam. So maybe I'll say that only when there are Korbanis are Chelev and Dam a problem. Bisman Deleka Korban. But if there are no Korbanis like nowadays, then maybe you can eat Chelev and Dam. Kamash Malon. No, you can't eat chelev and dam even when there are no korbanos. Moshe of the Kosev Achmana Gabi Matzah Umar Lamali. Why do I need it to say Moshe of that matzah and mar apply everywhere? It's necessary because Agadai Chamina Amir taught to say Hol v'chas uchsiv al matzah sumrom yochlu. That since it says that you eat the korban pesach with matzah and mar, bisman tika pesach in bisman deleka pesach lo. I might say the matzah and mar is shaykh only when there's a korban pesach. Nowadays there's no korban pesach. Maybe matzah and mar are not shaykh. So Kamash Malan, no, wherever you are. Bia the cause of Achmana Gabi Tfilin Ufeter Chomer Lamali. Why does it say Vayoki Viacha Bia by Tfilin as well as killing a firstborn donkey if you don't swap it for a sheep? So Aumi Boy Leilich the Tana Dvei Bishmal, so the Tana Dvei Bishmal, Asay Mitzvah Zo Shebeshvil Tikonis La'aretz. Do this mitzvah. I guess put on Tfilin, do Peter Chomer. So that on account of these mitzvahs, you will go in to Eretz Yisrael. Friends, that was the Aflamet Zayin of Masechet Kiddushin. This is Hillel Esther, the Rebbe of Hillel Esther. This is, according to your calculations, Rebbe Hillel, this is the halfway mark of Shas. Chever. Wow. Give yourself a pat on the back or something. No matter what, we made it halfway. That ain't bad. Well, peace out.